Where else on earth? Join us in the heartwarming and historic story of Bill, a world-respected Olympic gold medalist and his lifelong friend, Rolf, a founder of one of the most significant sailboat racing classes in history. Learn how their surprising story together is a message for all generations to the lifelong and truly venerable sport of sailing. Where else on earth? Today, you will get an answer to that question. Hello, everybody. This is Tom here. We have some very special guests on a very special boat today. We are at Wayzata Yacht Club, and on the right we have Bill Allen, who is an Olympic gold medalist in the Solon class, and on the left we have Rolf Turnquist, who is a lifelong friend of Bill's, and also was very important in the establishment of the J24 fleet number 1, the largest keelboat one design fleet in history.
Correct.
So, all right. So first of all, thank you very, very much for doing this, for being here. And again, tell us how you got started in this crazy sport. When you were little.
Yeah,
and you started from Bald Eagle Lake, right?
Well, I mean, my dad was a sailor, and he grew up over in St. Paul, and he sailed at both Bald Eagle and White Bear Lake. And at some point in time, and I can't even ask him, but he was Commodore of the Calhoun Yacht Club, and he was racing an A-scow out here on Minnetonka, but because he didn't own a house on Lake Minnetonka, he had to register under the C for Calhoun. So he was C55. He's racing with the Pillsburys and the Crosbys and all the rest of them. They let him race, but they didn't let him put an M on his sail. So in 1949, he bought a house in Cottagewood, and in 1950, I have pictures of his A-scow with an M on it. Now, in 1950, I was 3, so I got started pretty early, and I raced with my dad, and I raced his boat when I was 7 and 8 years old, and I got my own boat when I was 9. It was an X boat, which is the ILY youth training boat, and sailed that for 7 years. So I got started pretty early, and
there's a picture he has of him on the back of his A-boat with his mom, and you're about 3 years old.
Maybe 2.
Well, we'll see if we can get that picture.
It just is
cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But again, my father was very into it. He was an Eagle Scout. He was very active and all that sort of stuff, and he just loved sailing. And so we all became sailors. There are 6 of us in the family. I have an older sister and 3 younger brothers and a younger sister. And we all sailed. We all raced. I always say, people say, "Do you sail?" I said, "Yes, we sail. Really, we race. That's what we do. We went out for the first time last week, cruising on this boat all year."
Well, that's the usual. Once a year, goes out cruising.
So, and the amazing part about it is that I took it all through the years at Minnetonka racing E-Scows, and I met Rolf when we were together in high school, our senior year in high school.
And what high school was that?
We were at Blake School.
At Blake.
Blake School.
Yep.
And he hadn't sailed.
Well, I'd sailed much.
You hadn't sailed much, and so I sort of got him going a little bit. We did a lot more water skiing than the rest of it, but it sort of got him going. He did some E-Scout stuff with some of my friends. May have sailed with me a few times, but I had a lot of brothers and boat owners and stuff to sail with. But it really wasn't until 1977 when this boat was introduced. The J24 was introduced to the world. It was actually introduced in 76, 75 maybe.
No, 77.
Yeah.
That was the first
And so
production year.
he got one of the first boats.
The first boat. We put in the
seven.
placed order.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was making sails for my father-in-law down in Chicago, and we wanted to, we kind of decided we were going to race this thing in the MORC class, which was big here at Wayzata back in those days. And we also didn't have enough boats to have a class and have one design racing, so we raced the boat Morrissey. It was really interesting. We actually took the Oz out to Annapolis for the Morrissey Internationals in 1977.
The original Oz.
The original Oz.
Yeah, yeah.
The one that's in the
Not number. What is it? What number is this?
This is 3, right?
This is number 3. Okay.
Well, it's my third boat.
Your third.
But
Oh.
it's 5432.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty. Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
third Oz, and so it was, we didn't know much about it. I made some sails. We had some Bauer sails on it, and we took it out there, and we actually won the class. We finished second overall, which was pretty amazing. And I think there were 10 or 12,
13.
13 boats.
J24s racing Morrissey.
And that was in 77 at where in Chicago?
In
Annapolis.
Annapolis.
Oh, in Annapolis.
Yeah, it was fabulous.
I see.
I mean, we've got a picture. You can see it of us going down Chesapeake Bay with a blooper up. Now nobody even knows what a blooper is these days.
I remember them.
But we had one flying off, and I don't know if it helped us or not, but we did. It was during the overnight race, and we did win the race.
I flew it all night.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
It was great.
So.
You flew the blooper and the chute.
No,
all night?
someone else flew the chute.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody else flew the chute.
I had my brother
Yeah.
Harry with us. I remember that. I kind
We
of
just
forget
sailed with
the
four
Okay.
of us.
I forget the other guy's name, but it
He was
was
a local.
it was just a fabulous event, and I already knew so many people in the sailing game from the Olympic years,
Sure.
because this was 77, well
Right.
after the Olympics, and
Right.
and another couple of Olympic trials, which I got involved in, and meeting all these people, and having them racing J24s. I would think that group that was at the Morrissey that year were all great sailors, and they all had brand new J24s. But we had a little bit of a trick, and I don't even know how I came up with it, but we had running backstays. I took the vang out of my E-scow and rigged it on the deck here so that I could tighten the headstay going up
On the
wind.
J24.
It wasn't one design. It was Morrissey.
Okay. So
That's
you
why
could
we had the
you could wing it a little bit.
Yeah, and so they were all kind of upset when they saw the running backstays, because
that
we
would
could
be
point
a little
higher.
shocking. Yes.
Yeah, we could point.
Yeah.
So within the next day, they all had running back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had a good inventory of sails. We have only 4 sails on this boat, typically. But with Morrissey, so Billy was in the sail business, so we had normally have 100 and a 150. Well, we had a 100, I think we had a 110. We had a 130, a 170, and a 150.
We had a 170
and
that
a blooper.
Go all the way back to
trimmed
the
back
stern
to the
almost.
stern pump.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we didn't use it that much, but in some real light air.
We had 2 spinners probably.
Yeah,
'cause
we had a
light air
half-ounce
spinnaker.
spinnaker, which wouldn't have been legal in the
And it was kind of full in the cockpit with sails.
A lot of sails in the cockpit,
Lot of sails.
not being used.
Well, we
Well, we probably used most of them.
Well, but I mean, not all at the same time.
right, yeah.
We had an overnight one night. We had a distance race.
Yeah, I mean, at the Morrissey Internationals, you sailed at least, because we won it in '87 on Thunderbird with Rod Wallace, Thunderbolt, I guess. And it was in Milwaukee. And we sailed an overnight race. Rodney decided he wasn't going to go. He just let the boys take it out. And we won that one overall, class and overall. So that was really fun. But, this was really sort of the start of this whole thing. And the start of our real sailing relationship. I have, pictures going back to, early days, and then he probably has some too. But we've now been sailing for about 20 years on the Oz. Regularly, we've been to a world championship in Annapolis.
Newport.
We've been to Newport, Rhode Island to a Worlds, and in 2018 we went to Lake Garda, Italy for a Worlds. So I mean, we've now,
You've been around.
and we were actually going to go a couple of years ago when it was in Greece, and my son decided to get married that weekend in Utah. So
At the end of that.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
still mad at him.
So what do you think is your favorite regatta on the J24? And why do you think, or favorite race maybe? Maybe it was yesterday.
Well, he remembers every race.
Yeah? Remember every race?
He remembers every race he ever sailed.
So what do you-
there have been so many, and for me, at least in these last 8 years, it's been having my granddaughter on the boat, because we took her for the first time when she was 5 weeks old. And and I have a picture at least every year of her standing back here, because we won the race and somebody took a picture of us with our fingers up. But those are so favorite to me. Our regattas were so memorable. Annapolis was memorable because it was cold and it had rained all spring, and
It was in May.
and
The ice was out here 2 weeks before the race, so it was a little hard on the northern boats.
and it rained so hard in that whole area for so long that there was no incoming tide because of all the water flowing
coming
out of
out.
Chesapeake Bay. And there were actually times during that affair, and it's happened to me, we've done it before in the Solian stuff, where we actually threw the anchor out to stop us going the wrong way. You've heard of it.
You're on the mark.
You
Throw the anchor.
yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I
You
did
gotta
that
do
once
something.
on Long Island
That's
Sound,
right.
actually. Yeah.
And so
yeah.
those, and those things, but to have another boat out there with a group and have friends that we stayed with out in Annapolis, how could you not have a fantastic time? Annapolis is a wonderful place to sail and has some of the finest bars in the world. And then we went to Newport, Rhode Island. I mean, it was fantastic, and they took such good care of us. And the sailing was beyond difficult, because we were sailing out we sailed out of the bay, out in the ocean. We had northwest winds, northeast winds, and we had about a 10-foot surf that was coming from the south. Absolutely, amazingly horrible. The kind of thing that people always tell you about boats disappearing that are right next to them in the waves and the troughs of the waves and stuff. And they were so big at times that you'd go down in the bottom of it and there'd be no wind. And here you are, everybody's hiking out. Now everybody's dragging in the water, and I'm trying to head down. And then you'd come up to the top of the wave, and it would knock you over as it was so windy. And it's like, I think that may have been the most physical affair that we've ever been through. I mean, there were people that said it was miserable the whole time. But an experience, unbelievable.
Yeah, fun. I'd say, the first Morrissey was fun. And just seeing how you could do to all these, and everyone was really excited about the new boat.
And this is Chicago, right?
No, this was
Annapolis.
this was the one.
Annapolis. This is the Annapolis. I see. Okay. Yeah.
But then, and my co-boat owner, John Jurdy, had committed to sail on Finlandia, which was a Lindenberg 26, so he couldn't steer. So I asked Billy to do that for us, and it was great. And Harry, but I think the first I think it was the first Worlds in Newport, where there were 84 boats, and I think that was 78. And that was really fun. That was really fun to go there and compete in that. And then the storm that hit the Fastnet.
The same storm.
That same storm. We sailed in that same storm.
Wow.
And it was just
Before it became famous.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then it gained so much speed and height. But it was just interesting. But that was really fun. And then when we went to Italy, I got to say that was pretty cool.
I mean, we stayed right on the water by the harbor.
Yeah. Right.
Walked from our hotel quarters down to the docks, restaurants. The wine was fantastic. The scenery.
That was pretty cool. We had a great time. Wives came.
Yeah, we brought everybody.
Yeah. Right.
And 16 bottles of Fireball.
Right.
So Rolf, you said there was a special way that the first boats were made with the mold.
The keel.
The keel. Okay, tell us about the first keels of the J24 and.
Well,
yeah.
So we went to Newport to pick the boat up, and had a great time. And we were actually the second boat out of the factory. The first boat left the day before, and they went to Key West, and it was a black colored boat. And then we came to Minnesota. So the first two boats here, the East Coast, maker, and one went to Key West and one went to Minnesota. That's kind of interesting. And so Jerdy has a tradition of making sure that he goes home to Lake City to be in the Easter egg hunting contest that his mom has for him. So we had to be back on Easter morning, and we picked up the boat 2 days before that. So that was really important that we got that done. So anyway, we go to there's a few stories about that, about the trailer and the templates not being right, but the first 10 boats, as I understand it, the keels were made out of I think a concrete mold. I think this is right. And then they went to a steel, I think it was a steel mold or a metal mold. So the first couple boats had a little different shaped keel. And so when we went to Newport for the first Worlds, they were, putting a template around all the keels. And they got to our boat, and we didn't really know all of that. Ours was fatter and a little shorter. And so, it didn't fit at all. And so they're like, what the hell? And so Rod Johnstone was there, and he said, what number? We said 7. Grandfather, get it out of here. Get out. Don't even look at it. Get it out of here. And we're like, oh, I guess it's pretty different,
And that was 007, right? That's what eventually became the name. No, but I think it was 007. I think it was the name of it later. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
They to this day, and of all the worlds that we go to, you literally spend at least 2 days measuring, because they measure everything. They measure the mast when it's up, they measure the mast when it's down, they weigh the boat without anything in it, they weigh the boat with all the gear you're supposed to have. They got templates for the keel and the rudder, and they got measurements for the stern to the keel to the bow. It literally takes 2 days to get it all done, and it's really nerve-wracking. And then you got to do all the sails.
Yeah, the width of the back of the rudder.
Yeah.
We had to sand that.
Trailing edge.
And we just picked it up, the trailing edge.
It was too thick.
New one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like one paint level layers thicker. And we're like, and of course, there's an issue of one measurer said one thing and another measurer might say something else. So it's quite, but it's a very, very strict one design. He said much more strict than the Olympics were at the time.
Oh, really?
I think that's very true. As a one design class, it's amazing that from the late 70s to our last event in Italy, that they spend that much time measuring these boats that have measurement certificates, have been measured many times before. There are specific places where you have to put weight in it. All they have to do is look, because it's all fiberglassed in. And yet they do it all again every time you go to a major championship, and that's it'll be a North Americans or a Worlds, or probably a Europeans, and it's 2 days. So,
So was the J24 class initially intended to be a one design class?
Yeah.
Well,
What was it?
I don't know.
So
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Well,
Bill.
there's a
I think-
discussion I've had with Rolf
I-
on this,
yeah,
but
So
talk
I talked
about
to
it a
Rod
little
about
bit.
that, because they weren't racing keelboats as a one design then very much.
well,
So,
Bob Johnson was racing Solings with us.
yeah, I know.
No.
But so when we said we want this to be one design, primarily because
Here.
of the influence of the
Meaning
Scouts,
here at Wayzata.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
because we wanted a one design keelboat, and there were ensign and there were a couple,
Yeah.
but so anyway, we started off saying we want this as a one design, and I think that when we talked to Rod, that really helped make it a one design. It helped him promote it as a one design, which I think is fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, it's raced. It was raced in handicap all over the world, different areas. But the idea here always was to have one design, and I think the fact of the matter is that I look back and all the people that I met sailing this thing in early days, they were all one design sailors. So they were all Olympic level or college level, and we all raced one design. So I think it really fit in really well with the whole one design concept.
Was this J-Boat's first one design?
Oh, it was their first boat.
Was their first boat,
Yeah.
period?
Yes.
Painted in his garage.
Aha, okay.
That's why it's
Yes.
it's 8'11" wide, because that's the widest he could fit it out of his garage.
Aha.
And so we've always had this thing
Something
about
new to learn.
about
Yeah.
you're supposed to have a permit to tow anything over 8 feet wide.
Yes.
And so we always have made sure when anybody ever stopped us, the police, on
Yeah.
the highway, that we're always holding on to
That little
the
piece of
zero
paper.
end of the tape on the other side of the boat.
Have you been
Yeah.
measured? We actually changed when we went to Annapolis. We changed the stat sheet. We took out the 11 inches.
Oh,
So
okay.
we made a stat sheet that says no, it's only it's really hard to tell because it's way
Oh,
up
yeah, you
in the
can't
air.
just,
Yeah.
you can't eyeball it.
Well,
We
and
never
you
pulled over.
say, well, you can't measure over the top
Oh,
to get
yeah.
the measurement because,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
come back here where it's a little narrower. You can go.
Yeah.
Did you ever
But
have to
it's-
measure?
We never did, but we always thought about it.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, we dragged our J24 to San Francisco. Not that one, but we took it to Florida. We took it, and we never got stopped. But we always had that, just make sure that
Make
one
sure
of
you
us is
got it.
holding the dumb
You
end
needed
of
our
it.
statistic sheet that said
Yeah,
it was 8
exactly.
feet wide.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Just on paper.
Yeah. And they've
It's an
been,
official document.
and
Yeah.
it's funky because the fact of the matter is that the reason that the Soling was picked for the '72 Olympics over the Etchells 22, which was clearly a much better boat, was because it was too wide to travel in Europe without a permit. So
Interesting.
there you go.
Right.
Silly decisions are made, and they pick that boat, Soling, instead of an Etchells 22.
Yeah.
The Solings don't even hardly race anymore, and the Etchells is huge worldwide fleet.
So that
it's a big
in
fleet.
Europe, the J24s they're on a trailer that tilts
they
it
tilt.
to the side.
I didn't know that.
It's more narrow.
Yeah. Oh, to make it more narrow.
Right, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird looking thing.
Yeah, I bet it
Sideways
is.
on the
I
trailer.
bet it did. Yeah. So just talk
I
about
think
that.
No,
it's fun
I-
sailing with their families. So
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. let's talk about that a little bit. Okay, so you mentioned your granddaughter here.
Well,
so
yeah, and you know, my family all sailed. My son and daughter raced. My daughter sailed in college at Boston College, very good team.
Yeah.
You know, it's just so much fun to sail with them, and that's what's so fun about this boat, is that we all sail. His son, T. Cody, is his son. He does the front end. My daughter does the tactics and the twings and helps bring the spinnaker down. And you know, in this last regatta, because he had his surgery, we had T. Cody, his son, and we had my daughter and my son-in-law and a kid named Eric Oppman, whose dad sailed with me on my e-scow for a couple of decades. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just like to say so Billy
this is all recorded, so I'm just going to
was
cut
the
back.
back part of this.
Yep.
Racing. It's only been the last 20 years. So the previous
Only the last 20.
So the previous 20 years was with my buddy Jerdo. And,
John
who
Jurdy.
is known as the Wizard of Oz. And he's a really good sailor. He sailed in the Pan American Games and had sailed one design.
Instead of fin.
He did the fin. Yeah, he did the fin.
So
yeah.
he knew a lot of people through
Oh,
the
yeah.
fin. And,
Oh, yeah.
So that was a lot of fun, and we really were just the two of us, and then anybody that wanted to sail with us would come out, and we sailed with 4 people, and we used to launch it off the bow and all that stuff. So it's changed a lot, the technology, just learning about how to sail this boat properly. But John was a great friend, and probably we own 2 of these together, and we'd say the best part of the J24 was our relationship with each other. Kind of like this guy, but
Well, and I was good friends with John, and John and Rolf kept their M20 over at my folks' house for a couple of summers on a lift, and you know, part of our program over there, I always kept my boats over on the lift in Cottagewood, and so it's been really different starting with the J22s and then with Rolf, that you know, we're here all the time, and you know, it's become really my yacht club, and you know, my fleet and my friends, because we've been doing it long enough, and you know, it's going to continue because we're going to do this as long as we can get on and off the boat, and we are already working on some hydraulic systems to get us from the dock onto the boat, you know, and in the coming years. Yeah.
a sling. We're just going to
That's
sling
news.
Swing us out.
Swing
So
us-
how long
swing
can
us
we
out.
keep doing this? And we
Yeah.
said, well, until
Well,
we can't. So
Yeah.
we're going to try. But I think
I mean-
I think we should petition the club to see if we can get a handicap system.
Handicap
So maybe
system?
they'll let us start a minute early or something.
There you go.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
because we have together, we're over 150 years of experience.
that's what kind of count for something.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
I think
minute
it
sounds
helps in
pretty
every
good.
year, that experience.
I'm turning 78 in November. He's going to be there.
He's a lot older
He's
than I am.
like 5 months.
5 months.
Yeah, he's a lot.
Now you graduated together, right?
Yeah.
The same year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So this is also for new sailors, you know, and the kids in the opties.
Yeah.
They're going to watch this.
Yeah.
Okay. So new kids that are coming up, and new families that are just where you were 30, 40 years ago.
50.
So, or 50. Okay. All right.
Well, I mean,
So
the
what
Olympics was 52 years ago.
52 years
I was
ago.
24 or one.
Okay. So
He looked the same.
what?
Well, no.
Mustache is a little darker then, or yeah. So what words do you have to say for families like that, which are
the fact of
critical
the matter
for
is that,
the growth of the
that
sport?
the whole thing about sailing and the fact of the matter is that the whole draw for this whole sport is the camaraderie. It's sailing with your buddies. It's telling lies afterwards to all the rest of the people how you beat them, because you really don't know. You know, that people say, well, why did you tack to the right? And I said, yeah, I don't know, somebody was on my wind. I had to, you know, but it's like we do all this stuff and we have so much fun and we meet people all over the world. You know, as a kid racing, growing up juniors, I was meeting people all over the Midwest. You know, we went to a Sears Cup in Marblehead, Massachusetts when I was like 12 and met California sailors. And that's really the draw about it. And it's not only getting all these kids involved, but getting involved with their friends so that they can get on a boat and have fun. And when they get off the boat, they can have fun and they can be part of the program. And it just continues. It's a sport that you can do, obviously, your whole life. And
So it's a lifelong sport.
you can do it anywhere in the world. You can say, okay, I'm going to move to Chicago and live. And there's more sailing going on in Chicago than people even know about. And if you want to move to anywhere on the water, there's going to be sailing. And there are going to be yacht clubs, and there are going to be the same sort of thing that we have here. This particular yacht club, as you know, is incredible. The kind of participation that we have for weekend and evening races. And it's not because we're all out there trying to beat each other up. It's because we're all kind of looking forward to coming back here and telling lies and drinking beer and eating hamburgers. So it's so special.
So I think a little, you know, sailing is, there's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of mind to it. Looking at the wind and reading where the puffs are and tacking on a lift or not, or knowing the rules and starboard and port and where are the other boats. And so I think you can single-handle do it, and you can do it with a big crew. And I'm a Viking fan, and to hear Kevin O'Connell, he keeps saying that all 11 have to be working together for us to be successful. And on a boat with a crew, especially experienced crew in a big regatta with 80 other boats, everyone has to be in sync with each other. And it's so much fun. The only, the problem with sailing with Bill is if I can get through a season without him saying, Rolf, you're killing me. I mean, that's not a good thing.
I stopped saying that, Rolf.
So he hasn't done that for the last couple of years.
I stopped saying it.
I think it's
purposely.
I think it's because he's nicer. Because it's not that I'm a better sailor, but
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like
Yeah.
you say,
Which
but
is
it's,
okay
But
either
it's
way.
so fun to sail with your friends and your family, and I just can't say enough about it. How special it is.
he'll say to us, whether it's blowing stink and we're wet and cold, or whether we're just sitting out there and there's not a breath of air, he'll look at us and say, where else in the world would you rather be? And you're like, right?
Here we are.
Right here.
That
Right
might be
here,
the
doing
title.
this with
That
our
might be the
buddies.
title of this video.
I think one of the things that's so special about this club, and you know
Yeah.
this too, is that on Thursday nights we go out on the lake. There may not be any wind, and only if it's a real bad storm or something. But we go out on the lake. We go
On a
out.
sail.
We want to sail, and everybody goes out there. We may motor out and motor back, but god darn it, we go out on the lake, and that is a special kind of yacht club feeling that we have here. That it makes me really proud.
But it's not. I mean, there's probably 120 boats every Thursday night on the lake.
Yeah.
And other yacht clubs say, pardon me, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Even the big ones, Annapolis and Newport. And I was saying when we had the event last year that I think there's 60 J boats in this marina. And so if there are 120 boats, half of them could be J boats. And that doesn't include all the J boats that are on people's docks. Outside the marina. So you just think the influence of Johnstone and this boat and then all the other wonderful boats that he's made about people having fun racing sailboats. That's what it's all about. And then yesterday with people planing and the day before, because the wind was so strong, I mean, you kind of, we're in a keel boat. We don't plane very often.
Yeah, so
J7
explain what planing is a little bit for people who are watching who won't know.
Well, planing is just basically getting up on top of the water and surfing on top of it.
Yeah.
And these boats don't do that particularly well. These boats, the J70 does that, and even the J22. They're a little flatter in the back. They're not quite so deep, and you can get the surface under and plane. I have planed in this. We actually hit 10.3 on somewhere during that third race on Saturday. I don't know that was planing, but we were pretty darn close. And it, the other side of that is generally what keel boats do. The faster they get going, the more wind, the more pressure, they dig down into the water. They push down and make a bigger hole. And if you can get, back in the boat and use the flatter part of the stern, the 70s are a classic example of a flat stern. They'll get up and plane, and they'll go, 15, 18 knots, and
Billy's, I would say probably one of the best, if not the best, E-boat sailor ever. And so
You're playing
those
all the
boats
time.
Playing in the A-boats,
Yes.
they're going 20, 25 miles an hour. And so for a keel boat, they kind of go, well, you're a lead sled, right? But
we got training wheels.
we can have fun.
It's really fun.
It's a little more strategic, actually, than
20%.
So where he's a master, particularly, is at each of the mark roundings.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we call it God card sometimes. So who's got the God card right now? Because we need a lift for 10 feet, and sometimes that happens. But he snuggles in there, and it's like, come on, Billy, don't hit that damn ball. It's not important. And I swear we're within an inch sometimes, but we've never hit anybody.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No, we've only been hit.
Yep. Thank you very, very much. I got a lot of good stuff. So
You
what
think
I'm
this
going
is good?
I think there was a lot of good stuff. So what we'll do is, so we can turn these.